Lighthouse. On April 9, 1913, the coastal town of Morrows Bay had always been a haven for those seeking solace from the chaos of city life. Nestled between rugged cliffs and the vast expanse of the ocean, it was a place where time seemed to stand still. Sara, with her fiery red hair and a spirit to match, had recently moved to Morrows Bay, hoping to escape a tumultuous past and find a fresh start amidst the town's serene backdrop. On her first evening, as she strolled along the beach, the silhouette of an old abandoned lighthouse caught her eye. It stood tall and solitary, a silent sentinel guarding secrets of a bygone era. The town's elderly folk often sat by the harbor, sharing tales of shipwrecks, lost sailors, and the haunting allure of the lighthouse. They spoke in hushed tones, their eyes reflecting a mix of fear and reverence. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sara overheard an old fisherman say the lighthouse has eyes and at night it watches. Intrigued, she approached him, but he merely pointed to the towering structure and whispered, "It remembers what we choose to forget." Sara's skepticism was evident, but the mystery of the lighthouse beckoned. Little did she know that her quest for a new beginning would intertwine with the town's forgotten history, leading her down a path of discovery, fear, and the relentless pull of the unknown. Sara's days in Morrows Bay soon fell into a rhythm. Mornings at the local cafe, afternoons exploring the town, and evenings by the beach, always with the Lighthouse casting its long shadow over her. But it was during one of her visits to the town's quaint library that she stumbled upon a dusty old book titled Shipwrecks of Morrows Bay. Flipping through its brittle pages, she found a chapter dedicated to a shipwreck from the 1800s, the Sirena's Lament. The illustrations showed a majestic ship, its sails billowing, but the accompanying text painted a tragic tale. The ship, caught in a fierce storm, had been dashed against the cliffs, and every soul aboard had perished. The bodies lost to the sea were never recovered, but what caught Sara's attention was a footnote. It mentioned the lighthouse keeper of that time, a man named Eleanor. He had reported eerie occurrences post the shipwreck, lights flickering at the top of the lighthouse, the sound of distant whispers, and the old maritime radio broadcasting SOS signals on its own. Curiosity piqued, Sara sought out Tom, a local historian known for his vast knowledge of Morrows Bay's past. Over a cup of tea, Tom shared tales of Elias Crane, who, it was said, had gone mad, often rambling about hearing the lost sailors' voices, their whispers carried by the wind. Together, they decided to delve deeper into this mystery. Armed with old maps, journals, and a burning desire to uncover the truth, they set their sights on the lighthouse. The beacon that had stood silent for years was about to reveal its long-held secrets. The lighthouse, with its weathered stones and moss-covered exterior, seemed to challenge Sara and Tom as they approached its entrance. The old wooden door creaked in protest as they pushed it open, revealing a spiral staircase that wound its way upwards, disappearing into the shadows. Tom had managed to procure some old equipment, cameras, audio recorders, and even an electromagnetic field detector, often used by paranormal investigators. They set up their gear, hoping to capture any anomalies that might provide clues to the tales of haunting. As night began to envelop the town, the duo made their way to the top. The panoramic view of Morrows Bay was breathtaking, but the atmosphere inside the lighthouse was thick with anticipation. Every sound, every whisper of the wind seemed amplified. Hours passed with little activity, but just past midnight, the unexpected happened. The long-dormant light of the lighthouse flickered to life, casting a ghostly glow across the waters. The old maritime radio, covered in a layer of dust, crackled to life. Through the static, they could discern faint SOS signals interspersed with desperate cries for help. Sara, holding the audio recorder, whispered, "Do you hear that?" Tom nodded, his face pale. The whispers they had heard about were real, and they seemed to be coming from the very walls of the lighthouse. Determined to find the source, they descended to the control room. There, amidst old logs and maritime charts, they found a journal. Its pages, yellowed with age, contained the frantic writings of Elias Crane. His entries spoke of the shipwreck, the lost souls, and his growing obsession with the voices he claimed to hear. The investigation had just begun, and the lighthouse was ready to share its haunting tales. The moon, now high in the sky, bathed the lighthouse in a silvery glow. Inside, the atmosphere grew palpable with tension. Sara and Tom, having set up a makeshift camp in the control room, sat huddled together, their eyes darting to every shadow, ears straining for every sound. As the hours ticked by, the temperature inside the lighthouse began to drop inexplicably. Their breath became visible, and a thin layer of frost started to form on the windows. The old maritime radio, which had been silent for a while, suddenly emitted a haunting melody, a sea shanty from long ago, its lyrics speaking of lost love and eternal longing. Drawn to the sound, Sara and Tom followed it to the base of the lighthouse. There they discovered an old gramophone, its needle moving rhythmically, even though there was no record on it. Suddenly, the lighthouse's beam intensified, casting a brilliant light across the ocean. Through the window they could see ghostly apparitions of ships, their sails tattered, floating just above the water, forever trapped in their final moments. The whispers grew louder, echoing through the corridors, recounting tales of despair and longing. Sara, clutching the journal of Elias Crane, read passages aloud, hoping to find a clue or a way to appease the restless spirits. As dawn approached, a powerful gust of wind blew open the lighthouse door, and the apparitions, along with the chilling cold, seemed to be sucked out into the vast ocean. Exhausted and shaken, Sara and Tom watched the first rays of sunlight pierce the horizon. The night at the lighthouse had been a journey through time, a dance with lost souls, and a testament to the enduring power of memories. In the aftermath of the spectral ship's departure, a hush settled over the lighthouse, but this silence was short-lived. From the very walls, soft murmurs began, growing in intensity, weaving a tapestry of voices from the past. These were not just random sounds. They were conversations, pleas, and lamentations of the lost sailors. Sara, ever the curious soul, held the audio recorder aloft, trying to capture the essence of these ethereal voices. Tom, on the other hand, was engrossed in the journal, searching for any mention of these whispers. One voice in particular stood out. It was a deep, resonant tone filled with sorrow. "Eleanor," it murmured. "I promised I'd return." Over and over, the name was repeated, each utterance more heart-wrenching than the last. Using the equipment, they amplified the sounds, and to their astonishment, they began to hear coordinates being repeated. Scribbling them down, Tom realized they pointed to a location not far from the lighthouse, a hidden cove known to locals as Eleanor's Retreat. The whispers seemed to be guiding them, urging them to uncover a forgotten chapter of Morrows Bay's history. Sara, holding the recorder close to her heart, whispered back, "We hear you, and we will help." As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the room, the duo made a pact. They would follow the whispers, venture to Eleanor's retreat, and uncover the mystery that had bound these souls to the lighthouse. The whispers, once just remnants of the past, had now become a beacon, guiding them towards a truth that had been submerged in the depths of time and tide. Guided by the coordinates and the insistent whispers, Sara and Tom found themselves at the edge of Eleanor's retreat. As dawn painted the sky in soft pastels, the cove, hidden from the main shoreline by jagged rocks, was a tranquil oasis with its golden sands and gentle waves. As they ventured further, they noticed an unusual rock formation which, upon closer inspection, revealed an entrance to a hidden underwater cave. With trepidation, they decided to explore, equipped with flashlights and the hope of uncovering the secrets the whispers alluded to. Inside the cave, the walls shimmered with bioluminescent algae, casting an eerie glow. But what truly took their breath away was the sight of an ancient shipwreck, its once majestic frame now a skeletal reminder of its former glory. The ship's name, still faintly visible, read Sirena's Lament. Amidst the wreckage, they discovered a waterlogged chest. Inside, protected by layers of oilskin, was a collection of letters, bound by a delicate ribbon. The letters, penned with passion and longing, were exchanges between a sailor from the ship and his beloved Eleanor. The sailor had promised Eleanor that he'd return to her and build a life together in Morrows Bay. The last letter, stained with tears, spoke of a looming storm and the sailor's determination to navigate through it to keep his promise. It became clear that Sirena's Lament was the very ship that had met its tragic end as mentioned in the tales. Emerging from the cave, Sara and Tom realized they held in their hands not just letters, but the very heart and soul of a timeless love story, forever etched in the annals of Morrows Bay. The whispers had led them to a discovery that transcended time, bringing to light a love that even death couldn't dim. As Sara and Tom emerged from the cave, clutching the letters that bore testament to a love lost in time, The atmosphere around Eleanor's retreat shifted. The once tranquil cove now seemed to pulsate with an energy that was both magnetic and foreboding. From the shadows of the jagged rocks, a figure appeared. It was an elderly woman, her silver hair flowing like the waves, her eyes deep pools of sorrow. "You've found them," she whispered, her voice echoing the very whispers that had led them to the discovery. "Eleanor," Sara ventured, the realization dawning upon her. The apparition nodded. "For centuries, I've waited, hoping someone would uncover our story, hoping he would return." Tom, holding out the letters, said, "We found these. They speak of a love so profound, so eternal." Eleanor's gaze fixed on the letters, tears forming in her ethereal eyes. He promised he'd return, but fate had other plans. The lighthouse was supposed to guide him home, but instead it witnessed our tragedy. The air grew colder as Eleanor recounted the fateful night. The lighthouse keeper, driven by jealousy and rage, had sabotaged the beacon, leading Sirena's Lament to its doom. The keeper's actions had not only doomed the ship, but it also trapped Eleanor in a liminal space, forever waiting, forever yearning. Sara and Tom, realizing the depth of the betrayal and the anguish it had caused, felt a surge of determination. "We will set things right," Sara declared. Eleanor's gaze softened. The lighthouse must shine true once more, and the truth of that night must be acknowledged. As the trio set forth towards the lighthouse, they knew that the confrontation with the past was inevitable. The beacon that had once betrayed would now become the instrument of redemption. The journey back to the lighthouse was fraught with challenges. The once calm sea now roared with fury, waves crashing against the cliffs as if trying to prevent them from reaching their destination. The wind howled, carrying with it whispers of regret and sorrow. As they neared the lighthouse, the door, which had always stood ajar, slammed shut with a force that echoed the anger of the spirits trapped within. The trio, undeterred, pushed against it, but it was as if an unseen force held it firmly in place. Eleanor, her form shimmering with intensity, whispered, "The lighthouse keeper's guilt still lingers. We must confront it to find our escape." With a deep breath, Sara placed her hand on the door, clutching one of the letters tightly. "We come with the truth," she called out, her voice unwavering. "The beacon must shine true and the souls lost must find their peace." A chilling silence followed, and then from the depths of the lighthouse, a mournful cry echoed. The door slowly creaked open, revealing the shadowy figure of the lighthouse keeper, his form distorted by time and guilt. "I never meant for it to end this way," he moaned, his voice filled with remorse. Tom, stepping forward, said, "It's time to set things right. The beacon must guide, not betray." With Eleanor leading the way, they climbed to the top, where the beacon stood. Together, they reignited its flame, its light piercing the darkness, casting away the shadows of the past. As the first rays of dawn broke, the spirits of Sirena's Lament appeared, their forms dancing in the light, finally free. The lighthouse, once a symbol of betrayal, now stood as a beacon of hope and redemption. With the spirits at peace, the trio made their escape, knowing that they had not only confronted the past, but had also paved the way for a brighter future. The days that followed were a whirlwind of revelations and healing for Morrows Bay. The tale of Sirena's Lament, the love story of Eleanor and her sailor, and the tragic betrayal of the lighthouse keeper became the talk of the town. The once forgotten lighthouse now stood as a testament to the power of love, redemption, and truth. Sara and Tom, with the help of the townsfolk, transformed the lighthouse into a memorial. A plaque was placed at its entrance, inscribed with the names of the lost sailors, and a tribute to the eternal love of Eleanor and her beloved. The letters they had discovered were displayed in a glass case, allowing visitors to partake in the poignant journey of love and longing. Eleanor's retreat became a place of pilgrimage. Couples visited, leaving behind letters and tokens, hoping to imbue their own love stories with the same timeless passion that had once thrived there. As for Sara, the experience had changed her profoundly. The town that she had come to for a fresh start had given her so much more: a purpose, a connection to its rich history, and a deep bond with Tom. Together, they penned a book, chronicling the events of that fateful night at the lighthouse, ensuring that the tale would be passed down through generations. The conclusion of this chapter in Morrows Bay's history was bittersweet. While the town had confronted its ghosts and found closure, it had also discovered the enduring power of love and the importance of preserving memories. And so, as the sun set over the horizon, casting the lighthouse in a golden hue. Morrows Bay whispered its tales to the winds, forever etching them in the sands of time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and turn on notifications. Write which story you like the most in the comments.